We know it. It goes on, and when there is controversies like Mara Taglu supposedly signaling Serena, and it gets in the papers and whatnot, it becomes a big story. Well, that's good for tennis. I mean, you know, yeah, when you're talking about tennis and controversy, everybody loves controversy. That's why John McEnroe was, everybody loved McEnroe because he was controversial. And so this conversation and this question, which was a great question, should there or shouldn't, TV commentators, they'll talk about it. And it was talked about at the WTA meetings just a few days ago. And, I think the key is if they're going to do it, I think it's important for them maybe to get the coaches down closer to the players instead of being kind of far away in a box and whatnot. The coaches say, yeah, that's just not as effective because they got spectators next to them who might be rowdy or, making too much noise, and that really affects them as coaches. So, and then the ultimate step would be to have a coach like they have in Davis Cups just sitting, in pickup sitting right next to them.
Right.
I don't know if you ever see that. I mean, there's two sides of the argument. You figure it out, and so forth, and for the traditionalists, and the other ones are saying, well, the coach should be part of the game and part of the drama that unfolds. I mean, you see in basketball, a coach in football, they'll get in the player's face and whatnot. Well, could you imagine if that happened on the tennis court? I mean, I don't know. It's tradition versus non-tradition. It just comes down to that.
Right.
And tennis is becoming more progressive. So I think sooner rather than later, you'll probably see it. So
let's move on to another subject who is a big issue here in Florida. I'm sure you have it in Hilton Head, all over the place in U.S., is the issue of yellow ball, orange ball, and green dot. I mean, you and I, when we grew up, it was just one ball.
Yeah.
And parents now are complaining to me why we have to go through a progression of yellow ball, and we're just going to take our kids to another sport where they can be grandfathered in automatically. So, in a way, we're losing. It seems like we're losing some player by just trying to implement this progression style of ball.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I went to the TI meetings this past couple of days, and the TI showed statistics that actually from 6 to 12 participations up, it's the only one that is up. And again, I know the traditionalists, would rather just use the yellow ball. And hey, if parents want their kids to start with a yellow ball, guess what?
Right.
You're not going to say, no, you got to do that. But most parents see the benefit of starting out with a red ball and progressing. I mean, a talented player like your son, sure, you could probably start him with a yellow ball. But, 90% of the people that come to you that are young, and not as talented, it's difficult. So the key is that tennis has been kid-sized, just like they don't have major baseball players play on a field like Yankee Stadium. They play on a little field, and from a progression point of view, it's definitely easier to get more people playing and learning the game that way. And if you have a talented player, they can progress very quickly through it. So that way, it just depends on the maturity and athleticism of the individual.
Right. Let's go to a tournament side now. Now we have nationals, state, different level of. In Florida, for example, we have level 9, level 7, levels 8, level 6, level 3, 4, 5. Then now we have a UTR. What is your intake on UTR
Well,
involvement?
yeah, no, that's a great question as well, Sekou. And PTR supports UTR. We're a partner with UTR. It's it's a very innovative and welcome addition to tennis. And you see it more at the junior level, where you're coaching the advanced junior level and colleges. Um, my son, as you know, went to IMG Academy for baseball, and if baseball had the same, like a UTR number, where a college coach could say, all right, this person's a UTR 10, they can play at my school. Well, baseball and a lot of other sports don't have it. So it's a huge benefit to college tennis, especially, to have a UTR. And, aside from just college tennis, just to have tournaments to where if you're the same UTR, you're going to have a match that's, maybe one break, or go to a tiebreaker versus getting just clocked 6-0 or 6-1 and not having fun. At the same time, at the TI meetings, the ITF was there and talking about the world tennis number, which is, I guess, I don't know if you can say it's a competitor, but it's another avenue for coaches to use to rank players and make sure that they're at the right level. And so, we'll see. I think it would be best if they'd focus on the recreational, the WTN number, and UTR focus on the other. But I mean, the market's going to take care of all that. But the main thing is that both are tremendous help to tennis, as long as it just doesn't get too confusing. And will it replace NTRP? That's the question. I think undoubtedly it will. It's just going to be so much better that eventually you'll just have an equivalency. If you're a 3.5 player, you'll end up. This is what you'll be as a WTN or a UTR number. But we're seeing very successful UTR tournaments out there. Our members are embracing it, and Ann Worcester's the new CEO of it, and longtime industry veteran as far as an executive. So both things are good, Siku. It's a good question.
Good. What about college tennis being played on the hard court? I mean, you and I have experienced a lot of talented kids who play college, and some of them, because of the pounding, the excess of matches on hard, who suffer injury. So would it be less injury if some of the colleges could convert their courts into clay court situations?
I don't know about that. I mean, you could slide and pull a groin muscle or a hamstring, and the thing is, these 18 to 22, 23-year-olds, they tend to be in good shape and whatnot, and don't get as injured as much as when you get older. But I think from a university aspect, to maintain clay courts and whatnot would be very difficult. And then, and the other thing is that in arid conditions and windy conditions, you don't see many clay courts. Like, you don't, as you know, you go out west and you hardly see clay courts. So I think tennis will stay on hard courts probably for a long time. But college tennis, it's good to see that it's becoming more and more popular. Athletic directors at schools are putting more money into new facilities to upgrade the facilities, and we're getting some more tennis teams coming back as well. So I'm a big believer and a big fan of college tennis.
Now we're gonna move into the subject of pay equality between men's and women's on the circuit. What is your intake? It was
Oh, it
I know the
definitely should be.
soccer soccer female U.S. soccer team won the World Cup this year. There's a big conversation about it on that side of the net.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely for equal pay of male and female athletes. I mean, tennis is way ahead of the ball game of other sports when it comes to that. And it's kudos for people like Billie Jean King, who spearheaded it from the beginning, in the WTA, who are just, obviously out there advocating for their athletes that to have equal pay. And the good news is the Grand Slams, where the most of their money is made, does have equal pay, and so I'm glad to see that tennis is ahead of other sports in terms of equal pay issue.
So we almost finished. It's so interesting to speak to you, Dan. You have so much knowledge in the industry, and we will love to bring you into the game, into this interview again. We know you're busy. If you have to wrap it up, make a conclusion, what would your conclusion be in regard to the state of tennis today and tomorrow?
Well, I mean, tennis is it's a lifetime sport. If you're looking, if you're a parent listening to this, there's no better sport to get your son or daughter involved in, because the life skills that you learn. My son, when he graduates from NYU in 4 years after playing baseball, he's done. But if he was playing tennis for NYU, he'd be playing for the rest of his life. And
Right.
And that's the beauty of tennis. So, and for women especially, it's the number one sport. If I had a daughter, there's no doubt I'd put them in tennis.
Right.
It's just the best sport for women.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Dan, thank you so much. If you could give over the phone again the contact and the email for PTR for new people who want to get involved, can you please do that again?
Yeah, thanks, Sekou. The number is 843-785-7244. Our and internet is info@pprtennis.org if you want to email, and you can go to our website at www.ptrtennis.org. And good talking with you, Sekou, and best to your son. Continued success to him and to you.
Thank you so much, my friends. And today, Radio Sekou, this was our friend and CEO, Dan SANTORUM. Thanks, Dan, and thanks for taking time to speak to us.
My pleasure. Take care now.
Take care now.